everyone, and welcome to my web scraping project where I will extract the flights from Ryanair and implement the graph algorithm in order to find the most popular direct route given the period and routes we will extract and store in the database. So here's the Ryanair. You can simply put on the name of the city where you fly from and the destination, for example, Spain, Ibiza, and then you want a one-way flight, you want tomorrow, for example, and you look for the flight. So this is Ryanair, and I'm gonna extract the flights from this website. But that's not all. Once we gather the data, I'm going to implement a graph algorithm to find the most popular direct routes based on the flight schedules we collect. We'll also be storing this information in the database MySQL, making it easy to work with later. To pull all this together, I'll be using some powerful Python frameworks like here, which I'll walk you through step by step. So let's dive in and explore how we can make sense of all these flights routes. So first of all, I'm going to use this Selenium. Selenium is a popular web automation tool used for testing and automating tasks in web browsers. I'm going to use the modules by and service from Selenium. By selects elements by their HTML. For example, if you go to the website and you want to inspect it, here you have the HTML script with a lot of different attributes like class, the name of the class, div, and spans. We will use service class in Selenium to configure how a WebDriver service, like Chrome Drive, is launched. It allows you to control aspects such as the location of the driver, executable, or specifying startup options for the browser. Time module is helpful for us to manipulate the time. We will extract the data for 2 to 3 days. So the goal of this project is to learn how to web scrape websites using Selenium, and later on to learn how to implement the graph algorithms on the data that we web scraped and stored in the database. I'm gonna use these airports codes. I will try to web scrape the data from Vienna because I'm currently based in Vienna to every single destination that is here in this array. And also I'm gonna extract the data from each of these destinations to Vienna. In this case, I will have a lot of routes within those 3 days. My goal will be to extract the data for the weekend. Using the graph algorithm, I will find out what is the most popular route on the weekend, given those locations. First of all, as in every web scraping project using Selenium, we want to paste the Chrome driver location. How do we look for the Chrome driver location? Just go to the Finder, and here I have it already. So I basically click on it, and here I have the path. And once I copy the path, I can paste it. Then we want to get today's date and calculate the next days. So as I said, today is Wednesday, 23rd of October. And I want to use the data for the weekend. So I will just go and write date, time, now. And I will add the time delta, days equal to 2. Because I want to have Friday. And now I will say how many days I want to have. So I want to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is 3 days. And this I'm going to store in the variable start date. This is our CSV file. We will store the data in the CSV file, and in the next video we will store the data into the database. So we will connect the database. Next, you want to finish the function scrape flights. So this is a function where we scrape all the data. For this we need origin, destination, and date out. Let's start with the URL. If you go to the website and find any flight and copy the URL, I want you to see the data that we have in the URL. So here we have the date. If we go back, we are currently looking at the 24th of October. Then we have, again, start date. So these are two the same. And then we have the origin. So we are flying from Vienna, and the destination we are flying to Ibiza, and here the same. So these are our parameters that we want to change dynamically. Therefore, instead of these values, we want to have the variables here inside. Therefore, we need the origin, destination, and date out, because these three parameters will change automatically for each flight. So I already prepared the values, so I will just copy paste it here, and now we have the correct URL. Now we want to load the web page. That's why we just simply write down driver and then get, and then the URL that we just created. And now we want to wait for the page to load. That's why we need our time module here. And we want to have to say sleep for 10 seconds, which means after each request, you are waiting 10 seconds. Next, we want to try to find flight cards on the page. What are the flight cards? If we go to the web page again and we will inspect, and let's look for flight card new. If I hover this section, we have the bluish section here, which means that one of these sections is called flight card. It's possible that we have two flights on the same day, and then for the moment we have only one flight card, but sometimes we can have two or even more. It depends. In this case, it's only one, but we want to retrieve this flight card in our code. That's why we want to call the driver find elements method from Selenium, and now we are using this by class with CSS selection. And now we're gonna specify what's the name of that class. The name of that class is flight card new. The same we can copy paste from the HTML here. So if you go down and deeper, you will have the information on this flight card separately, but I will explain it later in the video. For the moment, we need to catch the whole section, and the name of that section is flight card new. So now we need a list where we are storing all these flight cards. By the way, the flight card information should be stored in the variable. I will call it flight card, of course. And now let's create the list of flight cards. The variable will be called flight data. And for the moment, it's an empty list. So now we're gonna iterate through each flight card, extracting the information we need. If we found flight cards, let's iterate for a card in flight cards. Try the following. So we're gonna try to extract departure time and arrival time. So let's create the variables departure time and the variable arrival time. And the same as with the flight cards, we want to find the elements. For this, we're gonna call the card find element, and using the by class of Selenium, we are calling the CSS selection. And now we need to indicate what's the name of that selection, and we need to extract the text. So the same should be done for the arrival time. Let's go and check out what's the name of the HTML class. So we are looking for flight information hour. I will hover over each section, and it should be here because it's the part of the time is already bluish. Now let's go deeper, and here you go. Here you have the departure time. So we definitely need the name of this class, flight info hour, but in addition to that, we also need the data reference, flight segment departure, and you can find it here. So let's copy paste it, and the same we're gonna do with the arrival time. Arrival time should be deeper, and we already found it, and this is the text that we extract. And here we also need the class name flight info hour, but the first part of that will be called flight segment arrival. So instead of departure, we have data reference arrival. So we're gonna copy paste it again. And here we go. In addition to departure time and arrival time, we need the city origin, the city of destination, the flight number, and the origin airport, destination airport, and the price. So let's create the variables for all that. Origin city, then we need destination city, then we need the flight number, origin airport, destination airport, then we need the price, but I will skip it for a second. And once we have all that, we want to append each flight to the flight data. All right. By the way, let's since we are using the try method, we want to use the exception method, and the exception section will catch the errors if we have one. So it's pretty straightforward, and we need to do something once we do not have the flight cards. So on the days when there are no flights, and of course it's possible, and I will show you, for example, here, there are no flights. So if we will be iterating through each day, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's possible that some routes do not even exist on these days. Now, how do we handle that? And for this, we will have the else section where we will just print the message. And in the end, we need a return statement. We want to return the flight data. All right, let's finish our flight cards functions. In order to get the origin city, we will do the same as with the arrival time, but we will change the elements. So I will copy paste it. I will delete that because here we will have some different stuff. And for the moment, I will do the same for the destination city and for the flight number. So let's do these three variables right now. We want to find out the name of the class origin city. Let's look for the city in our HTML file. Let's come back to the root, and here we have flight. Let's go down. Let's look for the city, and here we have the city. So the departure city is in the flight segment departure section, but instead of time, as in the previous example, we will have the flight info city here. And I assume there will be the same with the destination city. Let's check it out. Yeah, so it will be the flight segment arrival, but the name will be flight info city. Let's copy paste it to the code. Flight number, let's look for the flight number. Here we have the flight number, and we will just use the card flight number content. And we will just use that one, card flight num content. Good. So what about the origin airport? In this case, we will also need to get the attribute. So let's write down card find by CSS selection, and here we will have to look for the name of that selection, and then we're gonna use the method get attribute data ref for reference, and we're gonna split it. So why do we split it, and what's the name of the selection? Let's check it out in the HTML. Let's look for the airport. And here we have the origin airport. We're gonna split it and use the second name and the second part. That's why we wrote down 1 instead of 0. And we split exactly at this sign, which means this is the split indicator. The same we have for the destination. IBZ is for the city of Ibiza, and that's why we want to split it and use the second part on the index 1. If, as you know it, we start counting from 0, of course, and 1 is the second part. Why we use data ref? Because this is the name of the value that we need. And let's copy paste the name. And the same we're gonna do for the destination, but here should be the origin. So now we want to extract the prices. In some cases, prices are not available because they are sold out. We need to consider the fact that if I go back to the website and let's look for any route that has sold out prices. Let's try for the 25th, and this flight is sold out. It means that we will not get the data properly or will not have the price. We still want to extract the route because it exists on that specific day, but instead of the price, we want to save the word sold out or ausverkauft, which means the same in German. How do we do that? Let's go to the code and check if the flight is sold out, creating the variable sold out equals card find element. In this case will be plural elements. We're gonna use by CSS selection. Here we will use the name of the value from HTML, and if sold out price equals to sold out, else we're gonna extract the price. Price equals to card find element by CSS selector, and here we're gonna place the value text in order to extract the text. So let's check the value of the class when the route is sold out and the value of the class selector when there's the price. If I inspect this page again, let's look for sold out. This is the text that we need. We will copy paste the name of the value, which is here, flight lazy sold out flight card. And now let's look at the route that is not sold out. And here we will see a different value, but first let's find this section with the price. Should be good. And let's go deeper. And here you go. Here you should have the price. One more. This is the price. And what's the name of the class? It's flight card summary new value here. So we need this class. Let's copy paste it. And now let's add the flights that we found on the website to the list. So here we want all variables that we just created. Flight number, origin city, origin airport, destination city, destination airport, date out, departure time, arrival time, and the price. So we're done with this function, and now let's move on to storing the data to the CSV file. First, we need to open the CSV file in the write mode. And the keyword will be with open CSV file because we already defined the name of the file. And we need to identify the mode. We want the write mode because we want to store the data inside. And for each flight, we want a new line, and we want to add the encoding. It's gonna be UTF -8. And we will store that as a file. Now let's call the writer CSV write file. Let's specify the header. So writer write row, and here we will call the names of the columns. I already wrote down the names of the columns, so in order to save the time, I will just copy paste them. but you can call them whatever you like, but they should be in the same order as here. And now let's loop over each city. So we want to specify that first the origin is gonna be Vienna. So the airport code is Vienna. And for each destination in cities, we're gonna specify as well the range for I in range num days. In our case, it will be 3 days. And let's calculate the date for the specific date. Date out. Start date plus time delta days equals I. And here we want to specify a string of time, and it's gonna be percent year minus percent month minus percent day. Good. So let's scrape the flight data for the route and date. We want to specify the flights equals to call the function that we just created, scrape flights. And as parameters, we want to add the origin, Vienna, the destination, and the date out. And then we want to write the flight to the CSV file. For flight, in flights, you will call the writer that will write each row of each flight. Good. And now we want to iterate and loop over each city as the origin. So in this case, we will indicate that Vienna is our destination. And for each origin, we want to extract the city from our array of cities. And we want to iterate 3 times because we want the data from 3 days in range num days. And here this will be the same, so we will copy paste it. Scraping the flight gonna be also the same, and writing the flight to the CSV is gonna be the same as well. And now, important, we're gonna close the browser. Driver quit. So because we have a lot of cities in our array, it's possible that the website will block us. So let's try for the moment to web scrape only 2 cities. So we will web scrape from Vienna to Alicante, then for 3 days, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then from Vienna to Barcelona on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then vice versa, because we're also gonna loop vice versa. From Alicante to Vienna on those 3 days, and also from Barcelona to Vienna on those 3 days. Okay, let's check it out. So now we're gonna scrape for Saturday. There are no flights. After 10 seconds, we're gonna scrape for Sunday. So we have an error, and let's check the function of scraping the flights. So we have the else statement under for loop, although it should be under if, and the same as the return statement should be a bit more to the left. So let's try to move it. Run again. So another error occurred due to the wrong variable assignment. We have twice Vienna as origin. The second for loop, we want that Vienna is the destination. So there are no flights from Vienna to Alicante on Friday and Saturday. There are 2 flights on Sunday. Now we are moving to Barcelona because the second element in our array was Barcelona. And now Vienna is the destination. So we're starting from Alicante again. And we're moving to Barcelona again, but with Vienna as a destination. That's it. So it works. Let's check the CSV file. And we have the flights from Vienna to Alicante, both with the price and the ones that are sold out. And then we have from Vienna to Barcelona, and then from Alicante to Vienna, and from Barcelona to Vienna. So you can do with any routes you want, with any destinations you want. I would suggest to do for as many cities as possible. I will do the same with the rest of the cities. Then we will have a pretty good size database, and with the data we can implement the graph theory or the graph algorithm. And of course, for the graph algorithm, more data we have is the best. In the next video, we will connect the database, MySQL database, and after we have the data in our database, we will implement the graph. Please subscribe if you do not want to miss the whole project. Thank you.